Hey, how's it going and welcome to another video. So man, how about that Bleach 20th anniversary one-shot? This chapter really surprised me, like, both in terms of the contents within it, which I'll get to in a second, but I think also just the fact that it kind of exists at all. For us Bleach fans, aka the single most oppressed group on the planet, you know, we've spent the past couple years, I'd say ever since the 1,000-year Blood War ended, in sort of like a Bleach recession. And even though every now and again something would come out, like the Can't Fear Your Own World novels, those were coming out. The announcement of the anime coming back happened years ago at this point. I'm still not sure what the status is on that. And so I think a lot of us were kind of at peace with like the reality of the fact that, you know, Bleach is over, right? The manga ended a few years ago. Kubo kind of moved on to doing like Burn the Witch and whatever else. And our kind of big thing we were looking forward to was the 1,000-year Blood War adaptation. So when it was announced that we were getting a new chapter, I was like, yo! And I think a lot of us kind of assumed that it would be just like, you know, like a one-shot, just a fun little adventure that the characters go on. Maybe they fight a hollow or whatever. Just a nice kind of way of Kubo saying like, yeah man, 20 years of Bleach, here's some new content. And speaking of Kubo, I'm really glad the man is in good enough health to write this monster of a chapter. I mean, this sucker is 73 pages. So I think it's awesome that he's well enough to be able to do that. You know, some mangaka, like, they finish kind of their big series and then they're basically incapacitated. Kishimoto, who's the author of Naruto, has stated that like, yeah, he's kind of just done. Like he just does not have the energy to do any more like real manga stuff anymore. Or look at like Togashi, who's the author of Hunter x Hunter. That poor man like is legitimately in pain pretty much every day of his life. Manga is just a grueling career path, dude. Having to come up with these chapters on a weekly basis. For some people, trying to make a manga chapter like that would take months and months, and these guys gotta crank them out within a week. So, but yeah, the art looks great. I'm super glad that Kubo is well and like still able to make manga. And if this one shot is anything to go off of, we might be getting some more of that in the future. But let's check out the chapter. So I'm not going to be covering it super extensively. I'm going to just kind of give a rundown and talk about certain things about it that kind of stuck out to me. So the manga starts with Kazui and Kon laying down pretending to be asleep, and Kazui is definitely a character that I'm like worried about. Luckily, he doesn't have too much involvement in this chapter. He kind of just shows up in the first few pages. But I think Kazui is definitely a character with a lot of potential for like very Gary Stu kind of situations. Basically like a small version of his dad, you know? I'm sure he'll become more important later on, but I don't know. I tend to be very wary about those kind of like little child prodigy kinds of characters. They end up, annoying sometimes. So yeah, Kazui ends up meeting this spirit and he's like, the spirit is like, man, I'm lonely. So Kazui's like, all right, we're gonna go somewhere where you won't be lonely. And then something quite weird happens. Kazui claps and bows like the traditional kind of prayer that you would do at like Shinto shrines. And then a portal of some kind opens up, which kind of looks like a Garganta, like the Garganta that the Espada used to travel, but you see a bunch of the hell butterflies flow out. The spirit guy and Kon are both like shooketh at whatever's going on in there. And then he's like, it's all right, everyone's there. And we get no further explanation about what's going on there. And we get the introduction of the title, Bleach, No Breaths from Hell. So he cuts to the Soul Society, and we see my man Madarame training with Renji's daughter, Ichika. And I thought this was really fun and really cute, seeing Madarame taking on kind of like a mentor role. Their little fight that they have where he's kind of just walking forward, whacking at her is really funny. And Ichika's like, wow, you've improved, master. And Madarame goes, shut up, you little shit. I've been good from the start. I'm your master. Then we cut to Renji, who's talking about a soul funeral festival, which is apparently a ritual that takes place 12 years after a funeral of a captain. And since, you know, the Soul Society got mega ultra fucked up during the last arc, it's about time they do one of those. So apparently the procedure is that they capture a hollow in the world of the living and kill it in front of their grave. Really weird tradition. We need to start doing that for like kids' birthdays. And then we see Ichigo hanging out at Keigo's ramen shop. Yeah, Keigo started a ramen shop. So Renji's like, yeah, you should come, man. And then we get to see Rukia, and I'm not crazy about Rukia's haircut. I really don't like this, like, side ponytail thing she has going on. She looks cute, but I don't know, I've always found that kind of side ponytail look to be really goofy, but also now the Soul Society has, like, iPhones. They're able to, like, FaceTime each other. It's pretty funny. So Rukia starts, like, bullying Ichigo about Ichigo getting Orihime to do all the chores. So it's really fun to see these three kind of bickering again, and then fucking Mayuri shows up with probably his goofiest outfit yet. Most of it is normal, but he's wearing this, like, antenna on his head. It's so fucking goofy looking. Like, every time you kind of see him, you just see this big, like, Y-shaped thing. So he broadcasts these holograms of himself to make an announcement all over the Soul Society, and he gets all of the vice captains to go to the world of the living to capture a holo. Like, that's some serious firepower to go capture one holo. And kind of looking at all the captains and lieutenants makes you, like, really realize how gimped the Gote is after the fucking final arc. Like, dog, Ida skirted his way into that captain seat. Does that guy even fight anybody throughout the series? Like, he literally only got in because Komamura was in charge, and then he became a dogman, and then Ida was like, he was the lieutenant, so... And then you got, like, Lisa as a captain. It's just like, man, the Gote lost some good boys in that war, dude. And then we get to meet Ida's new vice captain, Atao. And Atao seems cool. He really likes animals. He's a deaf dude. Seems like a nice enough guy. I think he should be the captain instead. Also, the Mayuri holograms can shoot lasers, apparently. So all the lieutenants of the Soul Society go to the world of the living with Ichigo to try and capture this one holo. And they have a little back and forth, and then we get to meet my new favorite character ever. Not actually, but at least out of the characters kind of introduced in this, she's definitely my favorite. New Lieutenant of the 8th Division, Yayaharu Yuyu. Say that one 5 times fast. And yeah, she's really cute. I really like her design. According to Renji, she has been influenced by Gyaru fashion in the world of the living. Finally, I've waited 20 years for a Gyaru Shinigami. Yo, she also on Instagram, though. She starts taking pictures with Ichigo, and she's like, I'll put a filter on these pictures, yo. So yeah, she's really cute. I really like the sort of brief amount of time we get with her. And then, big hollows appear. And these are some really weird looking, like, they're not actually hollows. I'm not sure what you would classify these guys as. But, like, the first one we see is just 2 circles attached to, like, arms and a rib cage and like some bony legs. Really weird fucking things, and obviously they start to attack. And then we get to see Atao Shikai, which is pretty cool. And a neat little detail is that Atao actually releases his Shikai not by verbalizing the command, but by like writing it on the Zanpakuto, which is pretty cool. I guess come to think of it, like pretty much every Zanpakuto release ever, they've had to vocalize the release. So I guess that kind of answers a question that I guess nobody ever had ever, which is like, what if you're mute or you just can't speak or whatever? Like, how do you release the Zanpakuto? And his Zanpakuto is also neat. The release command is give birth, and I think the sword is called Taka. And the release like turns his sword into a bunch of birds, and the birds fly into this hollow guy and just completely eviscerate him. I mean, he was like entirely made of like skin, and then they rip him down to the fucking bone. It's really awesome. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool Shikai. Then Yuyu shows up and just starts beating ass. She doesn't even like use a sword. She just fights with hand-to-hand combat. Like she does these fucking like taijutsu maneuvers and just eviscerates this hollow guy. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, all the lieutenants pretty much get a little action scene. Like Izuru shows up, and then from a portal emerges fucking Zyle Opero. And Zyle Opero is like, "Hey, wait, what's up, Renji, you fucker? Where's Uryu and that scientist guy that killed me?" And Renji's like, what are you doing? And Zyle Opero goes, "I have fallen to hell." And then I stopped for a second, and when I realized that, you know, it was Zyle Opero coming out of hell, I just thought, dude, this is just the Hellverse. Like, this is just a manga, like, a retelling, in a sense, of the Hellverse movie. So yeah, it's cool to see of all characters Zyle Opero show up. Like, obviously he's not like a random character, because he was part of the Espada, but I think the last fucking character I expected to see when I started reading this was Zyle Opero. So he starts trying to attack Renji and his daughter, and then Ichigo swoops in. And Zyle Opero's like, "I'll kill you, Ichigo!" And fucking Ichigo goes, "Who are you?" I thought that was really funny, because, like, yeah, Ichigo never met Zyle Opero. So to have this character being like, "Oh, Ichigo, I'll get you," and then Ichigo's like, "Who?" I thought that was really good. So then back at Soul Society, we see all the captains are gathered and weird thingies are starting to appear, and Kyoraku is like, oh, this is a will-o-wisp from hell. And Kyoraku's like, okay, let's have a little bit of a story time. And so he basically goes on to say that, like, beings with very high levels of Ryatsu, like, it's kind of dangerous to keep them around after they die, like they're reishi. And so essentially Kyoraku's kind of belief is that the ritual is actually done to send the dead captains to hell, because otherwise it's just too dangerous to keep that, like, level of concentrated reishi around. And even Xylopro is like, yeah, beings with, like, too much spiritual energy, they get sent down to hell, because they're just too dangerous to keep around otherwise. And apparently all of the, like, big shit Shinigami that ended up dying, like, their deaths basically opened up, like, the gates of hell. And in fact, we see the gates of hell open, and Ukitake's, like, his Shikai goes flying out, stabs Xylopro, and he's like, by the way, have you ever thought about the fact that all of the hell butterflies have hell in their name? And then the gates of hell close. And then we get to see, in big fucking letters, Bleach, Howl from the Jaws of Hell arc. And so I finished that chapter and I was like, dog, is Bleach continuing? Since I very much went into this with the mentality of, like, this is just a one-shot, you know, this is just like a fun little tribute to the fans, nice little way of seeing these characters again, and that would kind of be it. But no, here's Kubo more or less saying, like, I don't think it's straight up confirmed. I haven't heard anything about that. But I think that, like, when you end a chapter with an announcement of a new arc, the only logical conclusion is that there's gonna be a new arc. So it just brings up, like, a ton of questions. Is Bleach proper continuing? Is this something that we're going to get on a semi-regular basis? Or is this just gonna be a thing that Kubo kind of whips out whenever he feels like it? And beyond just, like, the real world sort of stuff, like, there's a lot of shit that's brought up in this chapter. Like, are the sort of damned hell spirits of former captains going to be the main antagonists? Obviously, we saw Xylopro, so, like, who else among, you know, the Espada or even the Quincy, like, who else has gone down to hell? Since we've always been under the assumption that, like, hell is just the place that really, really shitty people go. You know, if you're evil, if you perform evil actions in your life or as a hollow, then, like, then you go to hell, right? But apparently hell is more like a combo hybrid of, you know, place where the souls of the damned go, and also, like, a fucking bomb disposal ground for all of the extremely powerful, dangerous captain-level Shinigami who die. So it's exciting, man. Like, our long-term investment in Bleach, it seems like, is finally starting to pay off. Like, if you had told me, you know, even a few years ago, like, in a few years you're gonna be preparing for, like, the kinda sorta return of the Bleach manga, and also the 1000-Year Blood War anime, I would have been like, yeah, that's funny. But it seems like that's looking like more of a possibility now. So yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to just, like, any announcement about anything, or, like, more details on what specifically is going to happen in the future, because these are exciting times, right? Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I really was just expecting, like, a nice kind of wink and nod to the fans and sort of being like, yeah, man, Bleach. And instead we got, dude, Bleach. So yeah, super exciting, really looking forward to whatever ends up happening, even if it is just like a every now and again whenever Kubo feels like it kind of thing. It's still something to look forward to, you know? So we'll just have to see what unfolds with all this. But yeah, that has been the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.